Well, good afternoon and welcome again to another edition of Stay at Home and Brew It. I'm Jeff Perot,
and I'm Michael Murphy.
Poor Michael's being running ragged a little bit today with everything going on. All of us are keeping busy. But today is a little different because I know we'd mentioned to y'all that we were going to do kombucha. But as all of you know, if you've done any kind of fermentation of any kind, it doesn't always go exactly according to a certain schedule. Sometimes things go a little different. And Cedric took a look at the kombucha and said we need a little more time. So,
like he just showed us, just a little bit.
Yeah. So the kombucha episode where we update you is actually going to happen on Friday, and Friday's episode we're doing today, which is Grainfather versus mash and boil. What's the difference? All right. So now, a lot of times, we'll have people come in and they'll see some of these systems like, the mash and boil here, or the Grainfather here, and, we'll talk about it being an all-in-one system. What does that exactly mean, an all-in-one system?
So, I mean, to me, an all-in-one, it's all, with lack of a better term, it's like a plug and go.
Okay.
Everything's set right here. With my system at home, I got a propane burner, I got a 10-gallon kettle, I got a 10-gallon mash tun, I got a hot liquor, I have a ton of equipment. It's all right, except for with this one, which we'll get into, it doesn't have the wort chiller, but everything you need to boil, to mash, it's all right here. You can do it inside, you don't have to have the propane burner. That to me is what it,
Okay, yeah, and that's exactly what I'll tell people. I mean, it's, whereas you're not, for both Michael and I, when we're brewing kind of on a big scale or brewing normal, we've got all kinds of stuff.
Yep.
And so this is a way of having kind of everything in one little compact package, which makes it very nice too if you don't have a whole lot of space.
Yeah.
So for those of y'all who may be brewing in, an apartment or a townhome, or perhaps the other people that live with you or a person that lives with you doesn't want you to expand all of your...
Yeah, you have a limited corner for your brewery.
Yeah.
This is wonderful.
Exactly. Because it does, literally, you look, it takes up a small amount of space.
Yep.
And all these things, which we'll get into, are very nice because they have connections for, easily for, just plug it into your regular household outlet.
Yep.
It's not like you need something special. So, what in particular? See, I know Michael, you said you've brewed with mash and boil. You have one, right?
Yep.
Okay.
I got one.
The ones we carry here at the shop, we carry the mash and boil. We carry the Grainfather, and then there's one that we don't have in stock now, so we can't show you. But it's the Foundry system.
Yeah, it's a Anvil Foundry. We've talked about the Anvil conical fermenter when y'all talked about fermenters. Mm-hmm. It's the same company, and they make two different versions. They make a 6.5 and a 10.5. So you can either do a small little 3-gallon test batches, or you can get the bigger 10.5-gallon system, and then do full. I think they say you can do up to like 7 gallons at a 1050, give or take. So you can, it's a little bigger than the mash and boil here as far as capacity. So you can do a little bigger beers.
Okay. Well, let's start off with the mash and boil. And the mash and boil, would you say it's kind of similar to the Foundry?
They're very. Looking at them, they look pretty similar. The new Foundries have the controller from. You can kind of see the controllers down here at the bottom. The Foundry has it up here, which is so much nicer. Which will, as we talk about the mash and boil, that's one of my biggest things about it.
Okay. So as we look at it, what are the basic features we got?
The basic features. You have your LCD screen, which starts everything. Basically, with this, you plug it in, you flip it to on, and then you hit the on button there.
Okay.
So that's where you start. You put water in it, you get that going. And then, you have your pump over there. Once you start recirculating your mash, you flip your pump on. Super easy,
Okay.
Your grain basket right here.
Okay. Now, for those of y'all who've never perhaps used or seen one of these, what you got kind of a little perforated bottom here.
Yep.
That your grains, of course, will go in this container. And then the perforated bottom, which allows you to have the grain in there, and then have this pump continue to recirculate your mash, which makes it nice for maintaining temperature all the way through.
Yes.
And also, what's nice about it is, you're at the end, you're not having to do the whole Vorlauf thing.
Exactly. You pull your at the end of your mash, you pull this straight up, let it drain, and then you kind of add your sparge water as you kind of normally would sparge.
Yeah.
And then at that point, you turn this up, so you're heating up your boil water as you're also sparging.
Yeah.
So that it kind of helps that go a little quicker.
Now, let's see. Now, okay, Gene was asking the question, how much does the mash and boil weigh?
On the box it says, but I want to say it's 7 or 8 pounds.
Okay,
It
the
is
whole
all.
thing?
I mean, this is, it's pretty light.
Yeah, it is.
Strong man right there.
That's pretty light. But, here, we've got a mobile Tyler cam this time, so to let y'all know, because we're moving stuff and getting stuff ready in the shop. So we're going to show you the inside of the mash and boil. The inside of the mash and boil looks, it's not too complicated.
Nope.
You've got a connection there at the bottom for when the wort will flow out, which, let's see, Michael was pointing there to the faucet right there, or the valve. So the heating element is actually in the bottom, almost like a coffee urn.
Yes.
And so it's not like you've got, the heating element in direct contact with your wort.
Nope.
It's an easy clean, because it's
Yeah.
stainless steel.
Yeah, super easy clean. I mean, to clean it, what I do is I'll hose it out real good, fill it with PBW, I'll turn it on, let my brew clean heat up, and then dump it. I'll recirc, with the pump. It's probably easier to clean than my other system is.
Yeah, and here's the valve. A little better shot of the valve, as well as the little controller, the LCD controller there.
Yeah, and there's nothing to the controller. As you see, it's on off set, and then you're up and down for your temperature.
Okay.
It's really super easy. Talking about, when we talk about these all-in-one systems
cam down.
and everything, I have to preference it all by saying I love my 3-tier system. So I was always one of those, I love Brew Day. I love just the whole process of Brew Day, all of that. So these all-in-one systems, they're great, but it's not for me.
Okay.
But I preference that until I brewed with this. Do I pull this out all the time to brew most of my beers? No. But if I'm brewing, I brewed a Bock a couple weeks ago that I'm trading some beer for some stuff, some tattoo work. But so a Bock, super easy. I'm throwing this in here. I did a blonde a couple weeks ago. Did it on this. I did my hard seltzer on this as I brewed on my other, on my bigger system. Just, it's one of those, it's really nice, it's really convenient, but for me, I still like the whole Brew Day experience. But this it's moved me closer to that, I like it.
I can see that.
It's really nice, and like I said, it's really convenient, especially like today. I could have set this morning. I got home and my hot water had been right at mash temp. I could have knocked out a brew after work.
Yeah, which is very convenient.
Yeah.
Now, kind of going back to looking at this as Michael was saying earlier, you'd fill it with your hot water, and then you're going to put your grains in this basket. Now, at that point, this little arm right here is for recirculating. Whoops, tube came off a little bit.
Yeah.
But it's for recirculating your wort. So that helps to maintain the temperature of the mash constant and make it consistent throughout the mash, as well as, since it's recirculating constantly, when it comes time to pull this out, you've already got nice clear wort, a good filter bed in the bottom. This is an easy way to go all grain.
Yeah, it really is. So kind of talking about the recirc, Cedric has one and he's used it too, and we both agree that there's almost a learning curve too, as far as the opening here, as far as how much water to let the pump suck, and the recirc.
Huge learning curve.
Cedric just said huge learning curve, but they're definitely, there were times I'd have it flowing just great. I'd walk away for 2 or 3 minutes. I'd come back and I'd hear it had started to suck it dry because it wasn't flowing enough for the pump. So there was a little bit of a learning curve as far as dialing it in.
Yeah.
That this last beer, the box that I had all kinds of hell with it.
Okay.
I had a stuck mash, at one point, so I threw some rice hulls in there, and I mean it worked out. But I had more problems with this box than I have And a lot of it was with the recirc. I just couldn't get a good recirc going.
So if you go for the mash and boil, one of the things definitely, and this will actually prove to be almost similar on the Grainfather, there's a little valve here on the side that you can see that controls the flow of your recirculation. And you might have to play with that, for a few brews to make sure you get it right. As Michael said, you kind of dial it in.
Yeah, and I've even found kind of brew to brew it, depending on your grain bill. So there is a little bit of a learning curve on that. I also did find that their temperature here isn't necessarily what I'm getting. Their temperature is a little bit off.
Okay.
I'm checking it with my thermometer just to double check, and it'll say it's about 4 degrees off.
Okay.
So I've learned that. So when I mash, I keep that in mind. Now I'm also taking it at the top, and I think their probe is at the bottom. Mm-hmm. So that's something to keep in mind too. Is I'm testing the temperature of my mash up here, even though it's recirculating, keeping a pretty decent temperature. It's still taking the temperature down there, so there is going to be a little bit of a difference. Kind of probably the same thing
Similar,
with the Grainfather.
yeah. Now, as the mash finishes, one of the things that will happen is you'll of course stop the sparge arm here as I take the tube off. You can tell this is live because
we would edit this.
Yeah, we would edit that part out. But at that moment, it comes time to basically
to sparge.
Now for this, how would we do it?
So for this, really easy. You just pull it up here, turn it where you see the little feet. There's little brackets here, and boom,
it rests.
You let it drain, and then add your hot sparge water as necessary.
But now we would need a different vessel for the sparge water, correct? Okay.
Yeah. Well, and the same with the Grainfather. You need something separate. The one complaint I do have on this is the way the gallon markers are. It is difficult to see. I have to take my phone, turn the flashlight on, and hold it at the right angle to see the markings. That way I know when I've sparged at my 6 gallons.
Okay.
And that's something else that I did learn with this is my boil off is different. I get about a gallon boil off in a 60-minute boil on my 10 gallon, my other system. With this, I was only getting about half a gallon.
Okay.
So my first brew or two, I was a half gallon volume over. I wound up with 6 gallons when I was really wanting 5.5, and then going into a 6.5 gallon bucket, it complicated things just a little bit on that brew. But that was just like with going with any system, whether you go from this to the Grainfather to a 3-tier, or you upgrade your 3-tier system. There's a learning curve. You're gonna have to learn that system, and those are just kind of some of the things that I've learned with this system.
Okay.
Like I said, the boil off's a little different.
Now, Daniel here was saying that he's had problems getting replacement parts for this. Are you familiar with getting replacement parts for it, or?
That I don't. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's
There's not much to replace on it.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean the mash and boils. It's still a pretty new system. It's only been out a little over a year, Cedric.
A little over a year.
Yeah. So we haven't seen a whole lot of things break on it to need the replacement parts for. But
Okay.
I'm sure we can get them.
Okay.
I can't promise that, but
Daniel, that'll be something maybe we'll try and look into and see.
yeah.
see if
Or
we
give
find
us a
out
call
more
at the
info.
shop and tell us specifically what you're looking for, and we can maybe hook you up.
Yeah.
'Cause I got a mashing father, so my replacement parts are weird.
Cedric's taken a broken Grainfather and a mash and boil and
Cobbled
made
together the Frankenboil.
yeah, Frankenboil.
It's good. It works.
All right, and so then once you've sparged, then you just simply take this and you begin your boil.
Yep.
Adding your hops when you would add them and that sort of thing. Now, one thing to kind of keep in mind: this can get kind of heavy, depending upon how much grain you're using. So, if you got any problems with your shoulders or back or something like that, you might want to have somebody else around to kind of help you lift.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's, because you got 10, 12, 14 pounds of wet grain that you're pulling straight up like that. Yeah, it's to pull it up and then you got to twist it to get it to lock it. Yeah, it's been fun a time or two.
Yeah, I bet. But a good system if you want to have, kind of an all-in-one system. And the only one of the drawbacks, as Michael was saying, is there's no chiller for this.
Yeah. No, and that's that's kind of my thought on the mash and boil is, and we'll kind of talk about it on the Grainfather. I feel the Grainfather almost, for me as somebody that has a 3-tier system and I love the brew process, the Grainfather is almost too automated. It beeps when you need to add your hops, and you know you can load everything, which is great for some people. For me, this was great because my phone didn't beep at me, hey, like you're at your mash temp, you know, and I had to, it kept me a little more hands-on involved, which is more like how I like to brew, you know. So it allowed me then I'd have to come over here and I'd have to check the temperature. Even if I'm just visually looking at it, I'm still having to keep track of those things. I'm still having to keep track of my 60-minute boil because there is no computer in here to, you know, to keep track of that. So it kind of kept me a little more hands-on.
Okay.
You know, which, I mean, like I said, the Grainfather is great for those people that want to do that. But for me, I want to be hands-on. I want to, you know, that's a part of, like I said, for me, the whole brew day and the process is as a part of everything as the final product, you know.
Yeah. Okay. Well, so then for chilling, when you've used the mash and boil in the past, when you chill, how do you chill? I mean, do you have your like an immersion chiller or something like that you use? Okay.
Yep. I just use my same immersion chiller.
Okay. I'm sorry.
And I'll say, and I found it actually chills a little quicker in this than my 10-gallon. And I think it's the way it's shaped. I think my immersion chiller, it's just I'm getting better contact with the cold water, or you know, with the cold coil or what, you know. But yeah. So it does get a little faster.
Okay.
But I have found, and it does tell you this in the directions for the mash and boil. It says from the time you mash out to the beginning of the boil is going to take an hour, and I'll be damned. I can almost guarantee it's. I look, I'm like, all right, I'm mashing out. And like I said, I start raising the temperature as soon as I start to mash out.
Yeah.
And I start sparging. But it's almost dead on an hour. And what's funny is when I've done the two brews together, how quickly, like, you know, but my mash on my big system took me a lot longer, but I got to a boil quicker.
Okay.
It just kind of some of the things, and it wound up they were about the same amount of time. But it just, the way, you know, the heating and, you know, my propane, I can crank it up and I can get to a boil a lot quicker. And, you know, little things like that this I can't do. But the mash took, like I said, it was just a fun little, I was doing two brews, you know, side by side, and I was like, wow, it almost was the identical time workout. So, yeah.
Interesting. All right, so that's kind of the basics of the mash and boil. Or is there anything else you can think of? Any other pros and cons you'd want to let people know? Or
no, I mean, mash and boil. Move the controller up.
Oh,
that's my biggest complaint is that the controller's at the very bottom. It's a pain in the butt.
Okay.
You know, if you have it sitting on the floor, it's kind of tough to bend down and have to adjust the temperature. The Anvil, like I said, the Anvil's moved it up. The Anvil Foundry, it's up here, a little more user friendly.
Yeah.
That'd be my biggest complaint on it. Outside of that, like I said, I'm doing about a third of my brews on this.
Okay.
Just for convenience. It's really easy. I'm getting good results now that I've learned this system. So yeah, I mean, I still won't sell my other system, but I definitely still like having this. It's nice.
Nice. All right. Well, the next system we've got, which is, you know, as we mentioned, we've got the mash and boil, and then there's also the Grainfather, which we got it.
Yeah.
Okay. The Grainfather, which is another all-in-one electric system. This one's a little heavier. Let's see. There we go.
Well, yeah. So we didn't talk about kind of
Oh.
one of the big differences in these two, though. You know, kind of the nice thing about the mash and boil is it's $350.
No. Yeah.
That's the other advantage. Or I say that I think it's gone back. It was on sale for $350. I think it runs $400.
Okay.
So the price on the mash and boil is super affordable. It's a great entry, you know. Then you go to the Grainfather, which we tell people is like the Cadillac.
The Grainfather's pricier. I will say that the advantages. I mean, there are some nice advantages to it. For instance, you know, the pump is there, whereas with the mash and boil, the pump is extra, isn't it? Or is the pump integrated with it?
No, it's integrated.
Is it? Oh,
It's
okay.
now integrated.
Okay, so I mean they
It
both
used
have
to
a
be.
pump.
It used to be separate, but the new mash and boil it is now integrated.
Okay,
so.
but very similar design you'll notice with you know, kind of the whole sparge arm right here with for recirculating and all of that. Let's see. I won't break it yet.
Yet.
There we go. Again, this is live.
There we go.
Okay, so very similar design. You'll notice that it's got the mash kind of basket right there. It's got your whole recirculation arm. It's got a controller on the side. Now, one of the differences with the controller is the controller for the Grainfather is Bluetooth capable. You can upload recipes onto it as well as track it on your phone.
You can set it. I mean, you could put water in it, and from your phone here at work, start it.
Yeah,
Get home and have hot mash water.
yeah, which is nice.
Which is really cool.
Yeah.
Like I said, I can do that on the mash and boil, but I have to set it to start in advance, and it's not quite as, you know, from your phone, boom, start it. As who was it? Somebody around here tells me that I think it's Mikey that talks about starting his mash water from his bed.
Okay.
He's like, I'll wake up and boom, start my Grainfather, start my water heating up as I'm waking up and, you know, doing your morning stuff, you know, getting his coffee and stuff. His, you know, from his bed, he's already started his Grainfather.
Yeah, or we've got one here at the shop that we
Yeah.
brew on some, and I mean, I can, you know, we can set it to heat, you know, at a certain time, and
Yep.
you know, by the time we get here, it is ready to go, which is a nice advantage. It's kind of a nice thing to. Tanner Marshall said the broadcast got interrupted, Tyler. Or?
It did for me too for a second, but then I just reloaded the.
Oh. Okay, sorry about that, Tanner. Sometimes technology isn't as friendly as we'd like it to be. But I mean, some of the advantages, you know, is, you know, definitely the Bluetooth thing. But you know, as Michael was saying, it kind of takes you a little bit out of the process, in that you got something that's warning, you know, telling you, okay, put in hops now, mash water's ready here, that sort of thing. But that can be also, you know, it's.
I mean, if you've brewed long enough, I'm sure all of us have missed an addition.
Oh yeah.
Have either been busy cleaning something or just drinking beer and BSing with a buddy, and then look down and, oh crap, I had a 15-minute addition and there's 5 minutes left in my boil.
Exactly.
So we've all had that happen. So that's nice that the Grainfather will beep at you. Hey, stop talking.
Yeah.
You know, come add your hops.
Now, much like the mash and boil, the temperature probe, which checks to see what the temperature of the mash and everything is at, is actually down here at the bottom as well. So that's kind of a disadvantage of both of them, is that the reading that you're getting on the bottom, you know, although you are recirculating, trying to maintain your, you know, the mash, the temperature of the mash kind of consistent throughout, there can oftentimes be a difference when this is down close to the heating element.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, sometime, you know, somewhat of a problem. But if you kind of keep that in mind, then you'll know and you'll be able to kind of prepare for it. Again, both of these are very easy. The Grainfather operates much like the mash and boil. You know, putting in your water, your grains into here,
Yep.
letting it mash. When the mash is done, you pull it out. Now, along those lines, you know, also that can get heavy.
Yep.
So again, keep in mind. I know Jean says she was looking at getting a pull hers up.
Yeah, because even just lifting the basket up and the whole Grainfather itself, like you said, we talk about the Grainfather being more expensive, but when you lift it up, you can tell this is a thicker metal, thicker stainless steel.
Yeah.
It's a little heftier. So the basket alone, empty, I noticed was heavier than the mash and boil basket a lot. You know, so it's a little thicker, maybe a little more durable.
Yeah, I mean it's.
Maybe.
I think it can be.
Yeah.
But it is of course a little more expensive.
Yeah.
And now the next thing which I like about the Grainfather, I think is a neat thing, is that it comes with your wort chiller. So it comes with a counterflow wort chiller, which for those of y'all who don't know what a counterflow wort chiller is, we got a video on wort chillers, check that out. But basically, just kind of real quick, is you have your wort coming in one direction through tubes, and then there's a tube on the outside of where the wort is flowing through that has water flowing the opposite direction. And so there's kind of some heat transfer that takes place there to chill your wort. That's real nice because the way this thing is built also is this wort chiller fits exactly on top.
Yep.
So the let's kind of
Put that
show you
down
here.
there.
And we put the lid on top, and then the wort chiller fits right on top. You got it?
Yep. All right.
Right like that.
Something
Which
like
is-
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, it connects into there, and yeah, but you get the idea.
Yeah, but that makes it very nice because then, it's all, again, very compact. There's actually,
This is actually where I think there's a little bit of a flaw in this
Okay.
system. This is keeping all the heat in as you're trying to cool. So what I've done in the past is just get a stool to put this on,
Okay.
so that you could remove the lid and try to let some of that heat out a little bit more.
Okay.
Because I noticed on my first couple of times, especially if I was outside on a hot day, I was having a hard time cooling it. I'm like, wait a minute, this has just got a ton of heat that's being caught.
Right there at the
Yeah, so-
top.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But they didn't ask me to engineer it, so they should have probably.
Next time, Grainfather, you might want to talk to Brock. But that you can do that. It's nice and convenient. Or if you want to kind of chill a little bit faster, like Brock was saying, you get a small table or something and set it on the table next to it.
Yep.
Okay. A couple people on here. Daniel said, big advantage is the database of recipes that can be downloaded from Grainfather.
So yes, but again, if you go, I agree, Daniel. But if you go back and watch our recipe development, anybody can post any recipe to the Grainfather network. So some of them aren't the best of recipes I've found.
Okay. So I mean, kind of keep in mind, some of the recipes, and if you see one that's for a Hefeweizen that has,
No wheat.
no wheat in it, then probably not a good recipe. But it's been good. I mean, I know I've worked with one here at the shop and at home, and it's a nice compact system. Again, with its connections, it's got a connection so that for chilling, using the chilling water, you can hook it right up to your sink.
Yep.
And so again, you could do this inside, which makes it nice, especially if it's hot as blazes like it is here in Texas.
Yep.
And but you still have the thing of dripping on the floor and stuff like that as you're moving stuff. So it's not completely easy. You want to definitely don't do it on the carpet.
Well, that's what you talk about. The biggest advantage is being able to brew indoors, and that's for these all-in-one systems. I'm in some different Facebook groups, and depending on where you are in the country, some people don't brew in the winter,
True.
and some people don't brew in the summer. Down here in Texas, we get a lot of guys, and they're like, "Oh, it's July. I'm done brewing for a couple months."
Yeah.
And then up north, it's the opposite, because they're under several feet of snow most of the winter, so they aren't brewing. So this is one of those that's great, especially if you're up north and have a basement or something. This would be great for our basement.
Oh, that would be.
But one of these all-in-one electric systems are perfect for brewing year-round.
True. They're also, as Gene was mentioning in here, they're easy to clean, which
Yes.
makes it nice.
Yeah, they really are.
They're really easy to clean. Sometimes you have to get a little scrub pad to kind of get in there and get some of the organic residue and stuff like that off. But they're easy to clean. They're easy to lift around and clean, which makes it nice.
Yeah, I would say that's a great point that you made there, especially with this Grainfather. I've heard about the organic matter. I've heard you definitely want to use like a hop spider to keep the hops.
Yes.
Because when you're recircling,
Yeah. So for those of y'all who are doing that, I think probably the mash would the mash and boil too, or
well, you don't recirc.
during the boil. Or that's
after,
right. You don't.
it's the chilling.
Okay. That's a good thing to know. As Michael was saying, you'll need like a hop spider or some way of kind of containing your hops, especially if you have a lot of hops in the beer.
Mm-hmm.
So if you're making an IPA, you might want to get like a hop spider, or there's the metal screen things that we've got over there that you can put your hops in, or even like a fine mesh bag, which we sell those fine mesh nylon bags that can be used for your hops as well. And that keeps it from messing with the pump. So that's one kind of challenge with the Father is that he's got a hop spider here.
So this one here, it's made by Mangrove Jack, but it's actually made for. It says made for the Grainfather. I bought one. I use it both on my mash and boil and on my kettle, and it's great.
Nice.
It's this one I really like. It runs $40, and it's a lot bigger. The other ones run more expensive and are smaller.
Yeah.
So this one I think works great for the Grainfather. Works great for my mash and boil. Works good for my 10-gallon kettle. this is the one that I've had a lot of luck with.
Nice. Okay. So, that might be something if you're going the Grainfather direction that you want to keep in mind, that you'll have a little bit of an extra purchase that you'll need to make. So Daniel's saying there's a new stainless steel filter at the bottom with smaller holes on the Grainfather. Okay, we haven't seen that yet. Well, we'll keep an eye out for that, Daniel.
Nice.
Yeah, and actually, we've got the big Grainfather coming in, don't we?
Yeah, so Stubby ordered, or thought he ordered last week, the new big Grainfather, and it's what, 12 gallon?
I think.
Half. Okay, so it's a half barrel system,
Yeah, that's going to be big.
and So for those that don't know, a half barrel's 18 gallon.
15 and a half.
Yeah, 15 and a half. So I was trying to do the math in my head quickly.
No worries.
Yeah. Yeah, so 15 and a half, that's 3 times what this will do here. So that's a lot of people have been looking forward to that. From what I understand, it's going to require different electrical plugging.
Yeah, so might not be exactly for home use, but
Yeah.
depending upon how your home is wired.
Well, I actually saw an ad that Grainfather was promoting it for breweries as a pilot system,
Oh, okay.
as a nice, quick
Kind of half
pilot
barrel.
system. Yeah. Hey, experiment with, buy this and do some small scale experiments on it.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
that's something. Yeah, but that's coming. Has it been released in the U.S. yet? Okay. The big one.
Big one.
It's up. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, so we should have one next week. So when we're able to open back up and get you in the store, you guys can come check it out, look at it.
Or once it's on the website, if you've been jonesing
Yeah.
for it, you can buy it.
Yep.
It's on there.
Oh, it's already on there?
Buy it right now.
Okay, you can buy it right now if you want to.
We won't talk about the cost because it's a little pricey.
A little bit. But getting back to this Grainfather, this is more expensive than the mash and boil, but it's got a few more bells and whistles to it. It's very well made. Because let's see, the Grainfather retails, we sell it for about
Is it $9.90 on the Grainfather?
998.
Yep. Yeah. So it's right at $1,998.
Father's Day's coming.
But Father's Day is next week. So if you are looking, next Sunday is Father's Day. So if you're looking to get a Grainfather, maybe keep an eye out on your email next week.
Oh, great
Grainfather's
special?
notorious for running them on sale for
Okay.
Father's Day. We can't promise anything, but they're
Okay.
notorious for doing that. Yeah, they usually, it's about $250 off. I think they run $750,
Oh, wow.
$749
That's a
for
great
Father's
deal.
Day. So yeah, it's a really good deal. The other thing about the Grainfather that I will say, you do pay more, but they've been wonderful with their warranty. We've had them replace a lot of stuff here, for customers that dealing with that. I think it's a 3-year warranty on this, but they really stand behind their stuff and have been really good on that end. Again, the mash and boil is pretty new, so we haven't had a lot of problems with it on that end. So not that they aren't, but I do know the Grainfather's been wonderful with that.
Yeah, let's see. Okay. Let's see. Henry said Strat's going to be using this either tomorrow or on Friday. He watched him use this setup, and it's a great way to brew, simple and easy, and like you said, easy to clean up.
Yep. Yeah, I pulled Strat's order yesterday. We shipped that out to Strat.
All right. So, Henry, it looks like you're going to be brewing something interesting with Strat.
I'm trying to think what his grain was. It was kind of an interesting beer, but.
All right. So, again, some advantages and disadvantages to it. Definitely, the price is a bit of a disadvantage. The idea of the temperature difference, bit of a disadvantage. And then, as Brock was kind of saying, having the chiller just sitting on top, kind of makes it a little longer to chill.
Yep.
But a lot of good things to it as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's one of those. Before, when I first started here, we didn't have the mash and boil.
Okay.
So the only all electric system we had was the Grainfather, which was $1,000. So I was like, that's just stupid. Like, I for $1,000 I can upgrade so many other things on my beer end.
Yeah.
Now that we have a more affordable one at the mash and boil, I'm not so resistant to the all electric systems. This one is really cool. I've used it here a few times at the shop. The Grainfather's really nice. Like I'm an old man stuck in my ways, but they both are really good, really nice systems.
Yeah. So if you've been thinking about one of them, and you've been thinking about buying them, hopefully this has helped you out a little bit with some questions. If you have more questions, feel free to contact us up here at the shop.
Yep.
Michael and I are both familiar, as well as all the guys are familiar with the systems. and we can help you out.
I think Brock has a Grainfather, and Cedric has a mash and boil. So, so we got two guys, 2 and 2. You know, we got you covered. Now, don't call with Foundry questions. We don't know. No, totally joking.
And we don't have any foundries in right now,
Yeah.
but they're on back order. So for those of y'all who are interested, and if you have questions about it, I mean, please let us know. Things that you want to know more about, or you have questions before you buy, we'll be happy to help you out. But these are some great systems and some great ways to get into the hobby. Especially with all grain, as well as you can do an extract batch on these without a problem.
Yeah.
So it's got a lot of flexibility, and it's small and compact, which is nice.
Yeah. Oh, and one other advantage though of the Grainfather, if you buy it from us, you get your first recipe kit free.
Oh wow, nice.
It's one of I want to say there's 4 recipes on our website that's included with your Grainfather. So
Okay, so your first batch is already there.
Yep, your first batch, your yeast, your grain and hops, boom, got you
Nice.
set.
Very nice.
So that's another reason to order from us as opposed to
Somebody
others.
else.
Yeah, others.
All right. Well,
Alright.
Mike, can you think of anything else we need to tell them? Or?
No, I think we pretty well covered all-in-one electric systems.
All right. Awesome. Well, again, thank you for y'all's orders and your support. Thank you for watching.
Yep.
And if you have questions about these, feel free to contact us, myself or Michael, or any of the guys up here in the shop.
Yeah.
We're happy to help you out. That's what we're about. Is about helping people to make better beer.
Yes, that's my biggest thing. Is I want customers, everybody out there, to make better beer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's our biggest job here. So if we call you with a question on a recipe, we aren't trying to be jerks, tell you that your recipe's bad. We're just trying to help you make better beer.
Cesar de Mexico.
Arriba!
Caesar was on yesterday. And found out he was from Mexico.
Oh, right
So
on.
yeah, we had Nebraska, we had Iowa, we had Texas, and I can't remember another state, and then
Probably Montana. That Brock was
probably
on,
Brock's
yeah.
mom. Hi, Brock's
Yeah.
mom. And then we had Caesar who came in, and
Very nice.
so-
International now.
Yeah,
Nice.
not bad. So, Caesar, next time, sorry, we did not do kombucha this time. We did the all-in-one systems, but we'll be doing kombucha on Friday if you're curious about that. And tomorrow we're doing the style highlight on Märzen's and Fest beers.
Good old German fest beers. Yes.
But again, thank you for your orders. We appreciate it.
Yeah, we're staying busy. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. And, if you ever have questions, any way we can help, we appreciate it. Give us a call. So y'all make sure that you stay safe,
Wash your hands
stay at home.
and brew it.
Cheers.
What the